Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit's. Alright, I have the Heroes of the Storm Technical Alpha here for you. And obviously since it's an alpha and it's nowhere near complete, this will of course not be my definitive opinion on it. So we'll do a little my thoughts on video, just to demonstrate what's currently available and just have a look at the direction that it seems to be going in. Please bear in mind everything you're going to see is very much in alpha. This includes things like prices. We don't know if they're going to be final. And you should take everything with a massive grain of salt as a direct result. Now, if we go to the options menu, you may see something quite familiar. Yeah, this looks surprisingly similar to something else, doesn't it? Well, that's because it's actually based on the StarCraft 2 engine, and it makes sense considering that this initially was called Blizzard Dota and was going to be built into StarCraft 2's arcade itself, until they decided to go back to the drawing board with it, use the same engine, but build a full game around it. And this is why we now have the technical alpha of Heroes of the Storm, which is by no means ready to go out as of yet. But yeah, I mean, you've got a very impressive options menu as a direct result, but there's also a bunch of stuff that doesn't actually make an awful lot of sense, because it's referring to things like group sounds, which don't exist in Heroes of the Storm, so this is all built around the notion that you are actually playing StarCraft 2, so it's a little bit weird in that regard. But it does have its colorblind mode, so that's always nice to see. It even has a replay mode, but there's no way to watch the replays right now, so it's really strange. Really, really strange. But the fact that it is built on this engine does mean that we will have a lot of options once we get into a more advanced state when it comes to this game. But I would just hope that these options are tailored to this particular title. The alpha currently has performance issues, so it does definitely drop below 60 frequently. I haven't messed around with the settings yet, but so the StarCraft 2 engine is very scalable, but notoriously finicky when it comes to maintaining a frame rate above 60 FPS, particularly in very intensive situations. So I imagine that's a problem that might also transfer over to Heroes of the Storm, and I hope that it doesn't, because messing with your frame rate can be really bad when it comes to Dota-style games. So, in the technical alpha, they invited, it's mostly just friends and family as well as people that they know, so popular Blizzard streamers, press they brought in as well, and they're going to be adding people slowly. I'll just give you a warning, by the way, if there's any site that says it's giving away keys, it's lying. That is, of course, at the time of recording this video. It may be several months down the line you stumble across this video, you hear this. Well, yes, they might be doing it then, but look at the date. Anything around the date of this video, they are not giving out keys. They're flagging accounts manually. So if there's any site that says get a key here, it's probably trying to steal your data. So I'd suggest that you don't do it. Okay, well, have a look at the shop. Like I said, all of these prices are very much works in progress, but it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of them didn't change. So I did buy all of the heroes, and currently there are, let's see, 12 there, and then we have another 11 on top of that. So currently 23 heroes available in the beta. Well, the alpha. It's weird calling this an alpha because it doesn't play like one. Alpha products, at least back in the day, when alpha meant something, were generally extremely ropey, and this is actually surprisingly polished. It's kind of beta in the same way, I suppose, that Hearthstone was, but they are still calling it an alpha, which I believe does mean they could make some very significant changes to the way things are set up. So heroes-wise, you've got a lot of popular heroes and icons from the Blizzard franchise itself, including a bunch of StarCraft, Warcraft, Diablo heroes available there. Some less well-known, like, say, of course, if you don't know StarCraft, you probably don't know Abathur, or Gazlo, indeed, from Warcraft. If we click on him, he'll actually say this is the boss of Ratchet here, which is very true. So they have a few more obscure characters in here. I'm kind of hoping to see some of the bosses from World of Warcraft end up in here. I'd love to play XT002. I'd love to play Ragnaros, where you couldn't actually move. That would be quite amusing. I can definitely see ways to do that, but generally speaking, the models are quite nice, actually. We have a look at Tassadar here. The model quality is a bit better than StarCraft 2, although that doesn't surprise me considering they're sort of focusing on one hero instead of a lot of different units, but it's still not what I'd call really impressive. It's a good representation of classic heroes, but some people are going to be looking at it and saying, well, doesn't Dota 2 look better? And I think you'd probably be right, yeah. At least it does right now. I don't know if this will look any better by the time it comes out, but yes, it is still an alpha. It still looks alright. Now, if we look at appearance, we can also note that there are some skins available, some of which are particularly good. This very sort of Gundam-style Mecha Tassadar here. And there are even color variants. These are unlocked via completing quests. So You remember some of the pretty bad skins in League of Legends where it was just kind of a palette swap? Well, all of those palette swaps are free. The skins, on the other hand, are very much not. So we can skip through here. We can have a look at some of the other stuff here as well. There's Malfurion. There's Uther. Lumberjack Uther is available. Power Armored Uther. That in particular is quite fantastic, I've got to say. And then we can have a look at Tychus. Infested Tychus. Very, very cool model. Although, I don't believe with Infested Tychus they changed the voice samples. That would be good. Definitely like to see that. Zeratul. Including High Templar version Zeratul, which is... That's actually more of a palette swap. I mean, they have changed a few things there, but it is more of a palette swap than anything else. And then you've got Ronin Zeratul, which is a very nice one there. Patriot Reyna. Again, very much a palette swap. I assume that that skin is a lot cheaper. We can have a look at the prices, but as I've said before... It's almost pointless to do so, really, because we have no idea if they'll maintain that. That's a pretty good one. I like that. Yeah, there's some pretty good skins, including Roller Derby Nova. That's particularly good. Succubus Kerrigan. Because why not? There's your crossover. Alright, well, let's look at the store itself then, shall we? So, as I said, I bought all the heroes. The prices varied between about $3 and $10 at the most. There are also gold prices available. Now, the heroes, I believe, varied between 5 and 10,000 gold. I currently have 4,000 gold after playing about maybe 7 or 8 games. Now, if we go to skins, we'll see some prices here. So, if we go Succubus Kerrigan, $7.49. So, that's about the price of a League skin. Bit more expensive than some of the cheaper Dota skins, but of course the Dota skins do vary wildly in terms of their prices, especially considering that they consist of different items. But if you want to buy a set in Dota, it depends what you're getting. I mean, you could pay $3, or you could end up paying $35 if you're getting an Arcana level 1. This is a full-on $10 skin for Stitches here. Let's find that Patriot Reyna one, the one that seemed like there wasn't a lot of effort put into it. How much that is. Well, that one's actually $10, which is very surprising, considering, again, that's really just a palette swap. So, I think they need to rethink some of that. They should be tiering skins in such a way that the really complicated ones that had a lot of effort put into them kind of have... Well, that one's $15, so... that's actually quite pricey, I've got to say. But again... All of these prices are subject to change. We have absolutely no idea. I don't think the skin prices are going to bother too many people. I think the issue is most likely going to be the hero prices and just how fast it is to progress. Now, it does, at the moment anyway, use a LOL progression model, meaning that it's got a free hero rotation that changes every week, and then you can buy heroes permanently with either in-game gold or real money. You also have this progress system here, which allows you to unlock stuff. So at level 1, you get quests, as you can see here. And these will give you experience and gold if you do them. There are also 2 more levels of quests on top of that. Hero quests and epic hero quests. I haven't got to that point yet. I've hit level 8. Then at level 2, you get co-op mode. Level 3, versus mode. So that's your standard 5-on-5 queue. 2,000 gold reward at level 4. Daily quests at level 6. You can unlock a free hero at level 7. And then you got your hero talents there. I don't know if this lets you unlock any hero in the game. I think it may just be an extra slot for the free-to-play rotation. So it's not quite as cool as it sounds. Then hero talents is an interesting one because it's kind of the basis of the in-game progression model in this title. Up until level 8, you have very limited choices in-game. At that point, it opens up and you get about 5 choices every few levels to take, which are all mutually exclusive. Okay, well... I think the best thing to do would be jump into a game. Now, the queue time is probably going to be quite long, so I'm going to cut this out for your benefit, of course, and then we can see exactly if it's worth bothering with and what's going on with it. We could just do a practice game against the AI. I'd prefer to show you something ranked. So, let's do both. Alright, we're going to do a quick practice game against the AI, and then we will go on and do something against a real person. Okay, let's choose one that's interesting. I'm gonna play Kerrigan. Why not? Yeah, Kerrigan's a fairly active hero. And against the AI, it really kind of depends just how difficult the AI is in the alpha. When I played it at BlizzCon, it was ridiculously easy, but I have no idea if it's gonna stay that way. So, let's jump into that, and then I will show you something real. So, there are 4 maps currently available in the alpha. One is Cursed Hollow. And in this one, you have to collect tributes for the Raven Lord. If you get 3 tributes, it curses the entire enemy team, takes minions down to 1 hit point, and halves things like the health of forts. So getting the curse is the time to push. If you have the curse, you need to be very, very defensive indeed. Alright, so it's 5-on-5 game, and each of the maps is designed differently. This is a 3-lane map, bit more traditional here. And at the start of the game, you get to pick a talent, and every few levels you do this. This is the sole progression model within this game. There are no items of any description, so just bear that in mind. Which one do I want to go for? Well, that will just give me a passive boost of damage. Impaling Blades deal more damage. Primal Grasp increased range. Yeah, we'll go with that. Alright, now interestingly enough, you start with all of your abilities except for your ultimate at the very beginning of the game, which is a little weird because most of the time in games like this, you start with just one ability. In this case, start with 3. So you've got, in this case, Ravage, which is leap to a target. You've then got Impaling Blades, which is a small skill shot, which has a stun. And then Primal Grasp, which is a cone that drags enemies towards you and does damage. And I've increased the range of that by 20%. So, as you can see, that's the range of Primal Grasp. Now, you'll also notice I'm on a horsey. Yes, isn't it adorable? Mounts is one of their ways of monetizing in this game. And you get a mount by default as soon as you start the game. So, it's not like it's particularly difficult to use it. And you hit Z to activate it. It slows you down if you're not mounted up. And there's a brief cooldown involved in it as well. There we go. That's what I like to see. See what we can do here. The AI is a little bit dumb, so this shouldn't be too difficult, although it is 2-on-1, so we will see. There we go. I'll try and kill Diablo here. I think I should be able to pull that off without too much of a problem. There we go. Very nice. But yeah, mounting up is an interesting mechanic because there is the ability to go back to base, but you probably don't want to because there are no shops in the game. There is no purchase system of any sort, so there's no item progression. The only reason to go back to base is either to bloody defend it, or to use the Moonwell, which every 90 seconds will give you a fast regen. You'll also notice that there are walls this time around. Now, these walls can actually be bashed down. You can use them to bypass towers if you wish, and towers do a lot of damage, but they also have ammo. This bar here will go down over time and needs to regenerate. Once the ammo on a tower's out, well, you can't fire. So you can actually pressure a tower. There is a reason in Heroes of the Storm, as opposed to something like Dota or League of Legends, to hammer on a tower and kind of siege it. You don't really want to do that most of the time in those other games because all you're doing is feeding experience and gold to the enemy team. Here, there is a reason to keep the pressure on, which I actually like quite a lot. Alright, I've got a new talent, so what do we want to go for? I could put Cleave on my attacks. I could go Focused Attack, Empowered Basic Attack every 5 seconds, Psionic Pulse on an E, and Poison Enemy. We'll go Poison Enemy. There we go. This actually is an additional skill. So I think you can go up to like 5 or maybe even 6 skills on some of these heroes. It really depends what talent you decide to use, so my poison is actually a separate one. I also have a passive, and most heroes, but not all, are allowed to choose their passive at the start of the game, which more often than not means that it will perform a little bit differently. In this case, Kerrigan always uses Assimilation, which is every time I use an ability, I will actually gain a shield, which will charge up over time. Which is quite nice. 10% of attack damage, 20% of ability damage turned to shields for 6 seconds. So, yeah. Makes you a little bit tankier as an assassin. Now, you'll notice the ammo is about to wear off here, so if we actually keep fighting, we can just start to beat on these towers. Except Diablo is here to make matters even worse. But yeah, the towers have run out of ammunition now, so... you can also do damage if you so desire with hero abilities. That works pretty well. Now, once you unlock a lot of talents, you end up having to deal with some pretty ridiculous choices, and each one of them definitely affects the game in a significant fashion. So, the way that they've done it is, there are no items in the game, but the kind of serious effects of items that you would usually get are all bundled into these talents. Let's get Clean Kill. There we go. That should do the trick. And I think we're going to pick off Diablo here, because he's being a little silly and letting me do that. There we go. Nice and easy. Now, have you noticed that I don't have an individual level? Well, yeah, because they have simplified it down to team levels. So currently, our team level is 9, so everyone on our team is 9 and levels up at the same time, and experience is shared team-wide. The enemy team level is 6, so that means we have a pretty significant advantage over them here. At least for the moment. Now, there's a Ravenlord tribute that's being spawned somewhere that we'll probably want to grab because it's part of the objective. One of the interesting things about these maps within Heroes of the Storm is that every single map has a big focus on a particular objective. In this case, it's collecting the Ravenlord tributes to kick the curse into play. On another one, there's a pirate ship that you can buy the assistance of by collecting doubloons from chests and creep camps, which can then be used to summon the pirate ship and do a bunch of damage to enemy towers. Very, very powerful ability. It's another one where there's actually a separate map entirely. You go down into these haunted mines and you power up this golem via the use of these skulls which you can collect. And there's 100 skulls in total, and depending on how many skulls you collect, your golem will either be weaker than the other guy or stronger. Okay, I think we've got our ultimate now, so we're gonna pick Summon Ultralisk. There's a looks like there's a curse to be picked up there, so we're gonna go grab that tribute, and I think that will actually trigger the curse of the Ravenlord if we manage to grab this, because we're already 2 tributes up on the enemy, so should do the job nice and easily. There we go. So yeah, there's this objective focus, and most of the games don't last that long, because when you achieve an objective, it really swings the game in your favor in a big way. No real doubt about that. It's insane just how much of a difference it makes. Like, these towers aren't really going to do anything while this is happening, and I want to try and smash through this gate so that I can actually get to Uther and poison him, but it looks like he has... Oh, no, there he is. Can I get him? Yeah, I'm sure I can. There we go. There's the poison on him. That should kill him. Nicely done. And the team levels are interesting as well, because since there are no items, you're usually on a fairly even footing outside of whether or not your team has a fairly temporary advantage. It is possible for this to snowball a bit. Like, the most extreme I've had is where we've just been stomping the enemy team, and we've been, as a result, how many levels ahead? 5, I think? But you can catch up quite easily, and if you're playing the objectives properly, it means that the game tends to swing back in the other direction quite easily. That's a bit refreshing compared to other games. Now, in competitive play, there's a lot of turnarounds and stuff like Dota and League of Legends, yeah? If you're at the pro level. The problem is, most people don't play at the pro level. So, as a direct result, they end up in a situation where they are going to end up... Oh, I'm in fortress range. Don't want to do that. They are going to end up potentially losing the game 20 minutes in, and then not actually getting to the end of it for another 30 minutes. That's a bit of a problem. That's actually quite severe, in my honest opinion. I'm gonna put double strike on. There we go. So, again, buffed up one of my attacks here. And we can try and finish them off. Should be easy enough. Poison on Uther, focus on Muradin, and that should hopefully do the job. Nice. Took a lot of damage from that fort, so we've got to watch that. There are, of course, some pretty severe disadvantages to the way that they've done things, and one of those is that the game definitely doesn't have anywhere near as much complexity or depth as something like Dota or League of Legends. There's no doubt about that. This is a much simpler game than both. It's even a simpler game than Infinite Crisis. I mean, not having items is a pretty big deal because it eliminates the need for last hitting. Like, there is no last hitting in the game. As long as something dies within range of a hero, experience is given to the entire team without any problem at all. And to some people, that might seem like absolute blasphemy, and I can kind of understand the notion that some people would find it ridiculous. And half of me still does, because I'm saying to myself, look, do we really need to dumb this genre down any further? I've played thousands of hours of League, I've played thousands of hours of Dota. Do we need to dumb the genres down any further than they already are? And, you know, I find myself thinking, actually, we do. Not maybe for me or people like me, but for others who might just want to enjoy the experience of the genre boiled down even further than it already is, with a shallower learning curve that doesn't punish you as badly for losing and allowing that horrible snowball to happen. You can feed the enemy team, but if you die a lot, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. You don't earn a huge amount of experience from killing heroes. So it's not like you dying 10 times will put the enemy team super far ahead to the point where you ruin it for everybody else. It's actually quite easy because everything is shared for one player to very much make up for another. So as a result, I'd say there's maybe even a little bit less potential for toxicity because mechanically the game is less strict when it comes to what you do. And for some people, that is, again, going to be the antithesis of what they actually want from a game like this. And that's cool, because there are plenty of other alternatives they can play that are really, really good, like Dota or League of Legends, or even stuff like Smite. And even Strife, that's kind of... Strife, I'd say, is the middle ground between LoL and Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm is one of the simplest of this genre, whereas Strife kind of takes the more traditional model, simplifies it down a bit, but keeps the core, you know, keeps the items, keeps the idea of last hitting and things like that. Alright. Yeah, let's go with Blade Torrent there. That makes a slightly larger stun. Pretty damaging. That's what we'd like to see. Obviously, we're winning this one handily, and we're 4 levels ahead, so we should have no problem, I think, on the next push, eliminating things. Now, you might be wondering about these creep camps. I haven't really explained these. It's going to be... I don't know if I can take this myself, but maybe with my Ultralisk I can. So, killing a creep camp obviously doesn't give you any money because there is no economy in the game. What it does do, however, is it gives you a mercenary, which you can then have fight in your lane. So basically, these are super creeps or mega creeps that you can spawn, and they will help you with your push. Which means that controlling these camps is very important because a lot of these minions are really, really tough. This is one of the toughest ones, and he is an absolute monster, and he, with the proper assistance, he will wreck a lane with you. So we've captured this mercenary camp, and now he's going to help us, and he is going to, I think, attack the top lane by the looks of it. So that can really swing the battle in your favor. So I like the fact that they have put these optional sub-objectives in the game, like something like Dota or League of Legends with Roshan and dragons and golems and things like that. But they've managed to get around the idea of there not really being an economy that you could gain benefit from. You kill Roshan, you get money. You kill Dragon, you get money and things like that. But since there are no items, so you couldn't really have an Aegis. Let's get it right. An Aegis of the Immortal. Then there wouldn't really be any point in that, would there? So they figured it out quite nicely. I gotta give them credit for that. Now, so far, I've actually been having a pretty good time with Heroes of the Storm. Which is a bit surprising, because, again, I've played much more complicated games than this. The game's still fun, though. The combat is nicely responsive. Although, I have a feeling they need to work on that just a little bit. Like, there seems to be a slight delay in the movement, which is most likely to do with the engine that they're using. So maybe they need to tighten that up a little bit outside of the alpha. I mean, the engine in particular needs some work, because right now I'm sitting at about 40 frames per second, which is kind of ludicrous. It's far, far too low. But again, alpha, my hope is that they'll actually be able to work on it past this. I think we should just be able to win the game from here. I'll start using my abilities on here to try and work on this. Yeah, there's several people down, so I think maybe we can. There we go. Just murder their Kerrigan. Nice. I wasn't even aware they had a Kerrigan. Oh, I don't really want to be here now. Let's hop out of range, shall we? I think I'm going to die. Ah, I can't move out of fire range. There we go. I'm going to be out now. Very nice. So yeah, we might be able to just win here. But yeah, they need to work on the engine, certainly. I have my concerns about the business model. I don't mind the League of Legends model. I think that expecting every game to go the Dota model is unreasonable, because let's be honest, even if Dota 2 had been a complete disaster for Valve, it would have still brought people to Steam. And really, they can just make games a loss for the rest of their lives if they wish, but they happen to be Valve, so they can get away with the whole hats model and making everything else free. I don't think any other game outside of maybe Path of Exile, which, let's be honest, involves feeding a 4 to 5 man indie team, can really pull off the whole cosmetic-only model. And I don't really have a problem with this model, because for the vast majority of players, the lack of selection of heroes doesn't really matter as long as you are able to fill specific roles. And weirdly enough, roles in this game are actually kind of, I wouldn't say merged, but they're much more homogeneous. And because you can customize via the talent system, a lot of the heroes have multi-roles. So you could play Tassadar as a pure support hero, but he's also one of the most powerful nukers in the game. So it's worth bearing that in mind. And I think that as a result, a less flexible hero pool is a bit better than other games would be. You can still make a viable team, whereas perhaps with other games you couldn't. But really, I suppose we have to wait a little longer to be absolutely sure of that. This is just my feelings after about 10 games of this. Alright, let's increase. Let's go Torask Ultralisk. There we go. And I think we can just finish the game now. I said that last time, but I'm pretty sure we can at this point. It's going to unleash everything I've got on this thing. And that will, of course, be GG. But I should still, everyone should still be concerned about any game that allows you to buy a hero, because there is the potential for the buying of power there. So you got to be careful. Hopefully Blizzard will be savvy about that, but of course there's no guarantee. Alright, let's do it against a bunch of real players. So after this you get some experience and you hopefully gain the next level and you unlock a bunch of other stuff. There's the win bonus. Very nice. And then of course you get your end there. So 22 kills, 0 deaths, and it also counts the use of the mechanics on any particular map, so that's good. I like that a lot because really, if you're the guy that collects 3 of these curses or whatever, you've probably done more to win the game than the guy that got 22 kills. So this objective-focused gameplay is something I enjoy, and that game was done in 15 minutes. And 15 to 20 is fairly standard. There are some bigger back and forths that will take a bit longer, but I've never played like a 55-minute game. It's just the objective play makes such a difference that you really can't. Something like the pirate ship does so much damage and kills so many towers that you just can't keep enduring it. If you get cursed too many times, your waves get decimated. And really, even if the entire enemy team sits with their thumbs up their asses in their base, their team's waves are probably still going to be able to push you right back to your base anyway. So every objective makes such a difference that it shortens the games, and that makes decisions very decisive. I like that. Okay, let's queue up for a real game, shall we? And let's play against some actual opponents. Alright, cool. We get to have a look at Blackheart's Bay here, and I'm going to play the Siege Tank, also known as Sergeant Hammer. Alright, what we're going to do, let's see. This is a pretty cool one, actually. Alright, I'm going to do that. So, Bribe is a really weird ability that it's probably going to affect my ability to actually fight properly, but I should be okay. So, every time you kill minions, you gain stacks. So when you get 40 stacks, you bribe an enemy mercenary camp, and it just immediately, I do mean immediately, gives you that mercenary camp, which is interesting. Yeah, it's a really intriguing mechanic. Okay, so this hero is a little bit weird. Now, he's got siege mode, obviously. She, in fact, has siege mode. Because, of course, she is a siege tank, so I suppose that is to be expected. And then we've got 100 caliber blast, which is a instant knockback, as well as spider mines, which can be deployed. So, very much a StarCraft 2 hero here. I'm playing all StarCraft 2 heroes, I noticed. It's kind of weird. Oh, hello. Let's toss down some spider mines immediately. Hey, you want to get in close, that's kind of up to you. There we go. Siege tank's range is quite silly. I don't think anyone should really be surprised by that. There we go. And we can redeploy here. It does have the bush mechanics of games like League of Legends, as you probably noticed here. But as you can see, I've got quite the range and a decent amount of AoE as well, so I can pick away at my enemies. Of course, they can also pick away at me. Oh, almost got him. Alright, so the mechanic of this level is that you need to get doubloons. These are found either on neutral creep camps, or they are found in chests. And once you bring 10 of them to the Ghost Pirate, he will shell the enemy turrets for you. Which is pretty good. Now, I can't really move out of this position, I don't think. I don't know, though. We probably should. Let's make sure that they're stealing the bloody doubloons. Let's make sure they don't do that. Get him. I'm gonna siege up as well, see if I can get... Oh, almost got him. Almost got Falstead. Or whatever his face is. Oh, this is a bad place to be. Got the heals. I need to get out. I need to get out right now. I'm gonna find myself a Moonwell. Oh, we have an Abatha. Interesting. Abatha is an intriguing one. He has some weird support abilities. I'm not really sure if he's actually doing anything. But you never really know with Abatha. He's got a bunch of weird support abilities that he can use at ludicrously high range, so... Who knows? Sweet. Go on, collect the doubloons. I will stand guard. Okay, so now what we can do is we can deliver the doubloons to the Ghost Pirate in the middle of the map. And once we've deposited 10, his Ghost Ship will begin to attack. I'm going to put down some spider mines here. And deploy again. I need to get some more minion kills. I'm currently on 12, and I need 40 to get a minion stack. This could be quite useful, potentially. But all this objective-based play, as you've probably noticed, very much encourages you to try and dissuade your opponents from utilizing these various features. I've got pretty good damage here, but probably not good enough. I'm going to need to deploy, I think, before I take too much more. There we go. Redeploy. Get a few more minion kills. Be nice and careful. I think we can probably safely deploy there. Get a few more good shots off. He's coming around the side. Let's put some mines down to protect us. Another talent. I think we probably want increased range. There we go. Yeah, absolutely get a bit more range. That's what we like to see. Slick. Ow. You know, I think I may have picked the wrong hero against him because he can do some nasty, nasty things to me. Redeploy. Alright, 28. We're stacking up to be able to pull this bribe off here. I'll put some more mines down so I can't be flanked. I'm pretty sure they can obviously see me from this range. I mean, there's no question about that, but when I stop firing, I will go invisible again, so it's a useful way to juke. Alright, currently it's 3 doubloons on our side, and none on theirs. They're actually not playing the objective. I can't take this creep camp, I'd love to, but what I can do is, of course, use the mercenary bribe function on him. So that should do the trick. Let's kill a few more minions here. Oh, I've almost got enough for bribe. 36, just need a few more. My spider mines are about to run out, which concerns me a bit.
Choose a talent.
Oh, did we get enough for bribe? No, we're 1 short, damn it. Alright, let's go with Maelstrom rounds. So more damage. That's what we like to see. And then we can batter from this range and do yet more damage. Cool. So now I can go bribe that camp, which I believe will instantly give us control of it. Slick, and it also gives us all... No, did it give me the doubloons? I think it evaporated the doubloons. No, it did give me the doubloons. It just dropped them afterwards. That's a bit of a weird one, because it looked like it was going to drop 4, but I'm going to be able to not only help push this lane now that we have some mercenaries backing us up, that also appear to have some kind of area of effect attack. This is pretty good. Yeah, we're getting a good push going on here. And if he tries to get out this way, he's going to take some fire. Let's push forward a little bit. Oh, too far. Not that far. Down some more mines. Alright, not bad. I might go and put those doubloons in, actually. Might be a good idea. Well, I like the game, actually. It's a lot of fun. Surprising amounts of fun. It's very, very good when you're dealing with a bunch of people on Skype. Really, really good in that respect, because you can get so much done on your own, but you can get even more done with 5 people together. And since it's such an objective-focused game, it's entirely possible for you to have a really bad set of team members. It's kind of in the same way as Dota or League, but you lose for different reasons. In this game, you lose because people didn't bother to... Oh, damn, they looted both the chests. God damn it, we've got to stop them immediately from cashing that in. You lose because your opponents didn't properly... Well, God, let's try words. Let's go with that again. You lose. Why do you lose? Well, you lose because your team members didn't do the objectives, and the other team did. It's really that simple. I'm going to go and try and deploy these. I think we might actually be able to get this, unless they interrupt us. Come on, come on, come on, come on! Ah, I got interrupted, but he didn't. Okay, I'm going to try and cash this in again. Come on. This is going to be difficult. I think I'm going to have to deploy. We're going to have to fight over this. There we go. Focus on Uther, see if we can take him down. And we have now Napalm Strike, which I can drop in this location here. And I can try and take out Uther, which we did get. Very nice. Alright, now I'm going to cash in and see if... No! God damn it! It's Ghost Uther. Oh, is there anything more annoying than Ghost Uther? Not at all. Alright, now we'll finally cash the doubloons in. No, we won't! We're still getting attacked by Ghost Uther. Finally, we will cash in the doubloons. And now the pirate ship will do our bidding. Very nice. Alright, so this pirate ship is now going to smash the enemy forts, which is going to be very useful. There we go. So as you can see, the shots kind of going across the map here. Doing a lot of damage. I really love the objective focus. I think it's the strongest part of the game. The combat plays very much like League of Legends. There's no doubt about that. Although some of the heroes are quite creative and they've got their own interesting spins on them. I love the way that the siege tank works. That's actually kind of great. Surprising that it feels as good as it does, but there's so much impact on the siege tank's abilities. And once you get a good deployment spot, you can do so much damage that it is actually a lot of fun to use, more than I would have necessarily expected. I mean, how fun is it to just sit around in one place? Well, play Sergeant Hammer, and you will find that maybe it is. Let's sit on top of this, and we can rain down some napalm. There we go. This is kind of being an active support unit. And even Abatha is a very active support unit as well, because Abatha doesn't really do much on his own. In fact, he's like the weakest hero in the game, but he creates a symbiote which sits on kind of around the head of a friendly unit, and it gives you a bunch of active abilities you can use as Abatha to defend someone, which is an amazing way to deal with support, I think. A lot of the support heroes in this game are actually very fun to use and are very involved and active in what's going on, which I really approve of. And most of them can be turned into spell damage casters if you do things right, so depends which build you go for, really. And that is another gate down. We are doing pretty well today. We still need to go farm some more doubloons, I think, but I'm going to redeploy, get in range over here. Oh, I don't think sitting here was a good idea. No, I'm definitely going to go with no. This might be me dead. I'll put down napalm and then try and get out, but I think maybe we can... No. Never mind. Oh, that's my first death. Let's go with... Ooh, I can move slowly while siege. I like that. Hover siege mode. Let's grab that. That completely changes the way that my siege mode actually works. That sounds amazing. Alright. We'll try and get some chests here. I think that this is not going to convince people that enjoy Dota or League to switch. No way. No way in a million years. Because, I mean, why would you? You're used to more complex mechanics that have more going for them. So why on earth would you say, oh yeah, I really want to move to a game that is more casual and has less going for it in terms of its complexity? Yeah, I mean, that's difficult to sell. And in fact, I don't think they're going to successfully do that. But here's the thing. A lot of people like the idea of League. A lot of people like the idea of Dota, but don't actually like playing it. Because, yeah, it's a difficult game. And it's good that it's a difficult game. It's very good that it's a difficult game. Oh, man, I'm a beast now. Look at this. Look at this nonsense. It's excellent that it's a difficult game, and it should remain a difficult game. But that means, in order to not compromise that, you know, you can have other games that are just better when it comes to simplifying things and just making things a little bit more accessible. That's actually fine to have, because we already have two really successful, great choices within this particular genre, and then a bunch of other games which are also really, really good. Maybe not quite as popular, but popular enough. We're cashing them in. We're going to get another... Yeah, it looks like we're going to get another one. Fantastic. That's what I like to see. We're doing well here. Pretty happy with it. My hover siege tank is an absolute pain in the arse. It's brilliant. Yeah, and if you want complexity, there are already 2+ really good games that do that. But there are people that don't want complexity. And this game does not have that complexity, but it's still quite fun to play because there is still a reasonable amount of skill involved in the actual combat itself and in the teamwork and objective play. And the objective focus itself, I think, is quite refreshing. It's not that Dota or League don't have objectives, they're just less obvious. Now, this game has a lot of different maps immediately available to you that all have different styles of play available on them and all encourage you to do different things. And I think that should be lauded, because it is not something that has been fully explored within this particular genre as of yet, and it's certainly something that I feel could be done a lot better. But I think that it has to be done outside of the more traditional Dota concept, because if you do it in the traditional Dota concept, then people will complain, and rightfully so, that you messed up the world's perfect map. That's basically what Dota's map is, right? The world's perfect map. What would you change about the Dota map? Probably not too much. And every time we've seen other games try to put in different maps, most of the time it's been unsuccessful. I point to Twisted Treeline as a good example of that. Although maybe it's become more popular in recent years, but it definitely wasn't back then. Let us go with Slowing Mines. There we go, that should do the job, and I'm going to cash in a few doubloons over here. I think there's a space in the market for Heroes of the Storm, and Blizzard is probably the right company to make it. It's certainly not going to convince people who are playing actively and getting better at more complex Dota-style games. No way. But that's actually fine. Again, as I said, that's totally okay. There is definitely a market for this, though, and I think you're silly if you don't believe that. A lot of people are enthused by the idea of League of Legends or Dota, but are just terrified by it. I don't blame them. Particularly in solo play, those games are a nightmare. And this game does a lot to sort of even the playing field while still rewarding good objective-based team play. And it has some slightly shorter matches, so you don't get stuck in them for 50 minutes at a time. pleasingly responsive, pleasingly colorful, with a bunch of iconic characters. I mean, that's a strong proposition, isn't it? At least in my opinion. Yeah, I'm having fun with it. I'll probably keep playing it. I don't play Dota solo anymore. I play it very, very rarely, but with a couple of people sometimes. And I feel that's kind of okay. That's reasonably fun to do. But solo, I think this is probably the game that I would prefer to play. It's just less stressful. It definitely has less going for it, but if I just want to play a game for fun, and I'm not really concerned with becoming a pro and really advancing my skills to tip-top level and going up that gigantic, really, really tough, but also very rewarding learning curve, yeah, I'd probably play Heroes of the Storm. I have no illusions about being a pro player at anything. I have no doubt that this will cause yet another arms race, and the fanboyism between various games will be astronomically terrible, and I'll try my best to avoid being anywhere near that if it's all possible. But I certainly see the value in the game. And that, again, surprised me quite a bit, kind of in the same way as Hearthstone. I keep thinking to myself, you know, I want complexity, but sometimes I actually don't. And maybe I just respect complexity, but myself would prefer to do something a little bit easier. I know. I'm getting pathetic in my old age, aren't I? But as long as you're not dumbing down an existing game, if you want to make a casual version of a title, and you want to make your own IP with it, go for it. It's not like you have to play it. It's not affecting things in any way. You're not ruining an already existing game. So yeah, keep League and keep Dota at their respective difficulty levels. Absolutely. Maintain that level of complexity. Because those games should have that. And it's positive that those games have that. And it's awesome that people can enjoy that, and they should continue enjoying that. Because both Dota and League are great games. But for those who can't enjoy it, well, why not have an option? And why not make this the option? That's my thoughts on it anyway. I'll probably be streaming a bit more of this. I doubt I'm going to do a series on this channel. I did have an idea of doing a series with the Mrs. Duo Queue, but if that happens, that will be on Jenna's channel and not on this one. So just bear that in mind. So this is not going to be the next Hearthstone when it comes to being a game that I want to play a lot on my channel. I still love playing Hearthstone. I'd rather keep playing Hearthstone, frankly. But hey, this game as it stands is actually alright. It's pretty fun. And most of the concerns that I currently have with it are either business model or engine related, which I think can be fixed. Will it keep me interested? I don't know. You can definitely play heroes in different ways, and I think that's positive. There are several different ways to play a hero, even if there aren't items. But I think the game will certainly need more maps going forward, and there'll need to be a good amount of variety there. We'll need to see custom games come in, which are, of course, on their way. And what I hope is that they actually don't focus too much on competitive. In fact, I hope they don't focus at all on competitive. If they're building this game from the start to be competitive, then they're making a mistake, because this game really works well as a more casual experience. And I don't think forcing a competitive scene into a game that doesn't really need one is a good idea. It's almost the same with Hearthstone, you know, because with Hearthstone they said, we want to do a lot of RNG stuff, and now they're having to reduce that because it's hurting the competitive scene. It reminds me of the nonsense which went on with World of Warcraft when it was PvE versus PvP, and one was affecting the other. When it came to arenas. That was a problem. I just like to avoid that. You know, if the game gets a competitive scene, then just let it happen. Don't force it. And being casual, creating a casual experience is not a dirty word. And I'm sure Blizzard knows that, because let's be honest, since World of Warcraft, that's basically all they've been making, with the exception of StarCraft 2. Every one of their other games is for the most part casual, although you could say high torment levels in Diablo 3 are not, but yeah. It's good, so far. I'm having fun with it. It may just be that I've played every Blizzard game ever, and of course, you know, have a kind of a deep appreciation for the franchise. And that's making me enjoy it perhaps a little bit more than I otherwise would. But I think the game's got legs. And it's a good amount of fun to play at this point. So we'll see where it goes. A good positive impression, initially, of the technical alpha of Heroes of the Storm. Let's see if they're able to continue that. Hope so. I'd love to see, like, 10 maps with different objectives. That would be wonderful. Even more hero variety. There's a lot to be said for the value of that, I think. My name has been TotalBiscuit, taking a look at the technical alpha of Heroes of the Storm. As I said before, if someone says they've got a key for you, they probably don't. They are horrible, filthy liars. So just bear that in mind and don't be fooled by phishing attempts. It's not a good idea. I'll see you next time.